Hi, this is Adi from Adi's Crafts and Things. Today we were going to be talking about learning how to read different patterns, what to look for. So make sure you stay tuned and I'll see you in a moment. Hi, welcome back. So in one of my previous videos, I had mentioned how there's different types of terminology. There's US terminology, there's UK terminology. I'll post again some of those links below so you can look at the difference between one and the other. So we're gonna see at a couple different ways that you're gonna encounter written patterns and be able to read them on your own, be able to understand them and feel confident that what you're reading makes sense and it is what the author wanted you to do. So obviously you can find a lot of different ways that these patterns will come up. So the main one will be most likely online. You have places like Ravelry or Pinterest that will link you to other people's patterns, whether it be free or paid, and you can a lot of times just print them as needed. Oh, there we go. Isn't that handy? I'll post this again on the description. But yeah, so you can actually look for different patterns that are free. So for example, this one, Secret Paths, I had shown you the finished shawl on a previous video. So with this one, for example, you'll see that it has the stitches that it uses in the pattern, and it tells you the abbreviation and what that abbreviation stands for. So whenever you look, let me just get this out of the sleeve. And this one is free, by the way. You can go to Ravelry or you can go to Miho Crochet and look for her pattern. It is free on her website. So whenever you start looking at a pattern, and I'll get a little bit closer so you can read these, you'll see how it just has little abbreviations and a whole bunch of numbers. To the untrained eye, this looks messy and hard to read and not very easy to understand. But once you start breaking it down little by little, you can see like, okay, well, this section here says CH, that stands for chain, 3, 2, DC is double crochet in 1 stitch, double crochet, FPDC as a front post double crochet. And again, all of these abbreviations, you'll be able to find them over here in the stitches used in the pattern. So you'll be able to find FPDC, front post double crochet. So you're going to want to actually get acquainted with this section and make sure that you remember those abbreviations, what they stand for, like slip stitch, single crochet. Now, straight off the bat, I can tell you that this is an American pattern. Why? Because of that single crochet. UK patterns do not use a single crochet. Okay? Now, you'll be able to see this in a lot of different patterns. You'll be able to see some of them. So for example, this one is from Tony, I believe. Maybe not, no. The Unravel Mitten. Let me find one of Tony's. She's amazing. Oh, don't tell me I don't have it printed. Oh my goodness. Here I thought that I was being organized. Anyway, but yeah, so some of them, you'll be able to see also like the recommended yarn. So like this one is straight from a blog. So this one is called a Honeycomb Cbled Beanie. And I'm not sure if you're able to see this very well. There we go. But this one we'll talk about a little bit. Whenever you find them on blogs, they give you a little bit of information, how they came up with it, the inspiration behind it. Again, over here on the abbreviations, she tells you right there she's using US terminology. And you want to usually find the material. So this one is telling you it is a number 4 worsted weight. If you don't know what that is, you can always just go back to the nice little handy sheet that I mentioned at the beginning. And look at the differences between the names depending on where you're at. So like in the US, in the UK, Australia. So for me, a number 4 here being in Australia, I'd be looking for a 10 ply. Okay, and you'll be able to find these numbers usually on the yarn itself on the sleeve. So like for example, this one here, this one is an 8 ply. So I know that this would be a bit too small for this particular pattern. I'm sorry if I'm rambling a bit too much, but I do have an aim here, I promise. So over here I would tell you like, okay, so she's using a number 4 worsted weight. She's using a 6mm or a J hook. So specifically they used a clover armor crochet hook. I'll tell you what you need, so like a needle and scissors. And your gauge. Your gauge is very important, especially for things that are fitted. Anything like cardigans or sweaters, vests, beanies, you want to make sure that you have the gauge similar to what they are using, because otherwise whenever they give you a measurement at the very bottom here, it tells you what the final measurement should be. If this is where you're following step by step everything that they've written on the pattern. But if your gauge is off or your tension is off, then your sizing is going to be off. So what this does is that it's going to help you make sure that the combination of your hook and your yarn gives you the same sizing as what the pattern calls for. Okay, and again over here they go back into all the abbreviations so that you can actually follow along on the pattern. So you'll see over here they have sometimes little notes. So this one tells you that the chain 2 at the beginning does not count as a double crochet. So for some of these, whenever you're looking over here, they have a little number at the very end of the row. Right there. This is the number of stitches that you should have at the end of the row. Okay, so whenever you are coming back down to like over here on round 1, that chain 2 does not count towards the total number over here of 56 stitches. Okay, I'll try to link that one as well in the description. Now let's say that instead of looking for the pattern online, you decide to buy either a book or a magazine or something like that. You get given something like these. So how to tell what you're looking at. Okay, so again, if you're going to be looking through for a pattern that you like for crochet, first we need to make sure that it is indeed crochet. You can see some over here, those are knitting patterns. Okay. But yeah, you'll still see like they'll still give you tension. They'll still like ask for like specific measurements approximately. It will tell you your supplies, all that kind of stuff. This one has both knit and crochet, so it might be a little bit harder for me to find something straight off the bat, but you can buy some of these. This one is specifically vintage patterns, so I think this one might also be knit and crochet. So yeah, once you start learning all your abbreviations, like this one, it is a crochet top. So again, I'll tell you your tension, any special abbreviations. This one has the hook that they used, all your measurements over here. So that's something to always look for. And this one, just from over here, I can tell you this is going to be written in UK terminology because they use miss instead of skip. in the US when you say skip so many stitches instead of miss so many stitches. Okay, so you'll see like over here there's a treble, which in the US would be a double crochet. So those are the main things to look for when you're looking for patterns. And the other thing that you might find, like for example with this book, this one has a lot of diagrams. It'll have the picture and then it'll have a little chart over here for you to be able to make it if you wanted to follow only the chart. But it also has the written instructions right here. So you have a little chart key. If you're looking at reading a chart like this, you'll find some of these a lot in Pinterest. So if you are able to see the key for all those symbols, then it's going to be very simple to be able to follow this. And in most cases, the symbols will, like the meaning of the symbol will remain the same no matter what language the written part is. So if you know, like the little circles are your chains, the X's are your single crochets. The ones that look, let me see if I have other ones here, like a little T with a little line over it, that is a double crochet. The one that just looks like a T over here, that one is a half double crochet. So if you know all those things and you just come across a nice little chart of a beautiful motif on Pinterest, you'll be able to pretty much follow along and just look like, okay, those are all little chains. Okay, and these are like decreases or increases. 2 double crochets into the same stitch, that's an increase. And you can see they're all double crochets right there. There's a single crochet right here. So you'd be able to just follow along and know how many stitches you need to do. And in this particular one, it also even gives you a little picture of what the finished item should look like. So I think that's as basic as I can make it as far as like reading a pattern. If you still have any questions about this, please go ahead and write them below. If there's too many questions, I'll just make another video and address them. But yeah, I do find so many people who are a bit stuck on only being able to make a pattern that is on video on YouTube, learning how to read them, learning how to decipher like a chart, or being able to differentiate between the UK and the US terminology will open so many doors when it comes to being able to make other patterns, because not all of them will have a video attached to it. So I really hope that this is very handy for you. If you hadn't really wanted to learn before, I want to challenge you to try to make a pattern or make an item from a pattern. And yeah, post a picture below. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and you can just tag us on that so that we can see your progress. And as always, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.